Jude in verse 3 in the book bearing his name. He had this to say. Let's go there. Jude chapter 3. Jude 3, rather. We know there what he had to say. He said there, beloved ones, although I was making every effort to write you about the salvation we hold in common, I found it necessary to write you, to urge you, to put up a hard fight for the faith that was once for all time delivered to the holy ones. What was Jude actually implying? It is true, we all have many things in common, but we have one objective. That is to gain salvation by means of Christ Jesus. Not only that, but to lay hold of it, and our faith must be maintained. So no wonder that Jude stressed the point, I found it necessary. To do what? To write you. To urge you. And what else? To put up a hard fight for the faith. Brothers, Jude was urging them to stand up for the things they believe, the things they saw, and the things they heard. All of which was based on sound evidence rather than credulity. A firm and unquestioning belief of something for which there is no proof. Yes, let me repeat it. It says a firm and unquestioning belief of something for which there is no proof. Amazingly, many persons who oppose our faith manifest faith in other ways as well. For example, you have the farmer, then there's the physicist, then there's the scientists. All of them, what they do? All of them exercise faith in the stability of the natural laws. And there's no getting away from it. Let's see why. Ecclesiastes chapter 1 rather, verses 5 to 7. Some Proverbs, Ecclesiastes 1, 5 to 7. And then it says, the sun rises and the sun sets. Then it hurries back to the place where it rises again. The wind goes south and circles around to the north. Round and round it continuously circles. The wind keeps making its rounds. All the streams flow into the sea, yet the sea is not full. To the place from which the streams flow, there they return, so as to flow again. And since that is the case, based on their report, listen carefully for other reasons why it is vital then to build faith right now. Why we can build faith right now is because as a scientist, based on what they have noticed in relation to the natural laws, they say scientists are said to have faith in the basic principles governing their particular fields of knowledge. By measuring the movements of heavenly bodies, on the basis of such natural laws, astronomers were able to determine the existence and locations of certain planets before they were ever seen. Imagine that. Similarly, because of regularity of what is called the periodic scale governing all chemical elements, certain scientists were able to tell of the existence of specific elements and to describe their properties before these elements were found. Now tell us, now isn't that good reason for all of us to put our complete confidence, our trust, and our faith in man's maker? Okay. Brothers, like any building, the level of faith we exercise, along with the time and effort that we put in can be likened to the blocks that are put in the foundation of an house. Because we know when you put in the footing and then you place the blocks, you're coming up from there, you want to make sure that whatever you put on that is strong enough to sustain it. Well, hence, that is indicating to us that our God, Jehovah, does exist. He is our foundation. He is our creator, and he has a purpose for the human family. Having recognized these weakening influences, it would be good now to examine the abundant evidence for building our faith in Almighty God. For instance, when we look around at creation, I know in full well that all of what we are seeing, not one thing man can say I have anything or have anything rather to do with it. But rather, man can only stand in awe. Then what is stated at Romans 1 and verse 20 can only add to our faith. Let's have a look at that text as well. Romans 1 and verse 20. It's a well-known one, but read it. It says, "For his invisible qualities are clearly seen from the world's creation onward, because they are perceived by the things made, even his eternal power and Godship, so that they are inexcusable." No wonder Paul alluded to creation as the basis for faith. And in Hebrews chapter 3 and verse 4, he makes mention there of how all things are constructed by God. And the things that man used to build, obviously, they do come from him. So today, many individuals have built their own houses, and others, many more, have contracted others to do so for them. But what Paul is saying, that even what is used falls under all things constructed by God. Even the heavenly bodies that we see on the outside, even though they do not speak audibly, they still speak and give praise to Almighty God. They are evidence for us to continue to build faith in our God, Jehovah. Then there's the Bible, the inspired word of God. What it does, the Bible, it enlightens, it clarifies, and is totally beneficial for the entire human family. This is why Almighty God has put it in place that we may benefit from it. And even though the compilation of it spanned over 1,600 years, in many generations, obviously it is just as effective today as it was on the day it was completed. Also, there's Christ Jesus, where evidence in connection with him is there to support that there are building blocks that we can continue to pay attention to. For example, what is stated in relation to him? Here it is said that he would be born in the tribe of Judah. He was born in the tribe of Judah, in the town of Bethlehem. A close friend would betray him. He would be pierced, but no bones would be broken. And he would be cut off with the half of the beat of his earthly ministry. And not only that, lots would be cast for his garments. Building blocks for our faith as well. And finally, we go to the deliverance of Israel from Egyptian bondage, which is deeply engraved in that nation's psychological well-being. Why? Is that it's known throughout the world that wherever those individuals turn, what can be said of what happened to them many years ago is recorded here. It's always there confronting them. People are always speaking about what befell those individuals. In short, all of these accounts tells us something, that what we are seeing should bring to the fore again why we can trust God's promises. For example, from creation down to the day of Joshua, down to the day of Joshua, Joshua was testimony to this fact that he, up to that point in time, haven't noticed any one of God's promises that ever failed. This kind of evidence is enough that if we continue paying the necessary attention, the pleasure will be ours to actively build faith in man's maker. Now, the question then is, how can we build faith in man's maker? How can that be done? Well, a number of things is entailed. First of all, it calls for works, something that must be done on a constant basis. Others before Abraham, Noah, many others, they displayed faith, genuine faith. Wherein, by doing so, it helps identify who we are. Not only that, what we stand for as well. Let us turn to Hebrews chapter 12. Hebrews chapter 12 and verse 1. Note what it says here. There it states, so then, because we have such a great crowd of witnesses surrounding us, let us draw off every weight and sin that easily entangles us, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us. What have we noticed? It says there's a great crowd of witnesses. And obviously, there were those ones before us. They've been there. They've done that, so to speak. And when we think of it, they have thrown off all entanglements. And what else? It says they have run the course to the finish. Now, we would recognize as well that those ones that the Bible makes mention of never lack faith in any area at all. The reason why all of us should be on guard against lacking of faith is because we too, as the text said, can become easily entangled and lose our focus. And that is why Paul himself asks for more faith. And he asks for more faith due to the fact that it serves as a protective shield in our Christian spiritual warfare. Yes, it serves as a protective shield. Therefore, to maintain a firm faith, putting up a hard fight for it, such as resisting men who could plunge us into immorality, we'll be able then to combat the works of the flesh, avoid the snares of materialism, and we can shun faith-destroying philosophies and the traditions of men. And above all, we can look intently at the chief agent and perfecter of our faith, Christ Jesus. So we have many examples of those who exercise faith in man's maker. Noah, he built an ark for the preservation of himself, his family, and many other creatures. Noah also saw, according to Genesis chapter 3, verse 16 to 19, how Almighty God, his words that were spoken of in relation to Adam, held true even into his day. Because the things that Genesis 3:19 says, how childbearing will be hard on women, how man will have to work, sweat, to ease his pride when the days come. All of those things are things that Noah actually witnessed in his day. So, what was actually happening there, or we can conclude that it was certainly a great task. Even though, like his contemporaries, the thought of rain, because he was told that rain would come, was not particularly clear. You know what Noah did? He exercised faith that it would come. Brothers, following God's instructions closely is another facet of building our faith in man's maker. Unlike legends, which is built on actual occurrences, like that recorded at 2 Peter 2, verse 5, where the Apostle Peter made mention of the punishment that came upon those ungodly individuals because of what actually happened. Then there's Abraham. He never knew the precise details regarding the promise made to him. Hebrews chapter 11, verses 8 through to 10. But the thing is, you will notice in that text that he obeyed Jehovah. He exercised faith, and he was prepared to wait on Jehovah his God. Those were three outstanding things you would have noticed in that text about Abraham. And the thing about it is that when things got tough, what he did, he stuck it out. There's nowhere in any of the scriptures you can see that Abraham complained. In fact, Abraham refused, or rather failed to remember from where he came from. Hence, that strengthened his faith. His actions strengthened the faith of those ones in whomever he preached to. Yeah, and wherever he turned, Abraham established some place of worship that praise may be given to Almighty God. Like our forefathers of old, it is necessary for us as well to build faith today. Since we have seen so many reasons, how can we work to build our faith in that in others? There are a number of things that we can do. One, by engaging in personal Bible study. That is, making the time. Two, persevering in prayer. And not only when the need arises, but to do so on a regular basis. Regular meeting attendance is another area. And the only way we would not be here is if unforeseen occurrences will cause us or permit us not to be present. So we want to be present at all times. And the final one, the field service activity. And why the field service activity? So that we can camp just sheep out there. So all of these constitutes a healthy faith, one that pleases our God Jehovah. And there's some reason for doing so. Let's note what one brother said. He says, one Christian brother said, Jehovah's Physical Organization is a tremendously dependable source. You know what he said about it? It's a tremendously dependable source. Never once has it misled me in any way. Everything it has said has been based on God's word and has been the best for me, for my family, and for everyone I know. This builds tremendous faith as far as I am concerned. So the question then, do we feel the same? Those sentiments he expressed, no doubt, should similarly build our faith in man's Maker. Hence, we all should cherish the privilege to assist our fellow men, so as not to give up. Abraham, once again, he proved a fitting example when it came to his household. He understood the importance of circumcision, and he taught them Jehovah's way on a daily basis. First of all, we will notice here that what Abraham did, he also made sacrifices for the sake of peace. And yet he tackled crises with courage. Although being rich, he was not materialistic. One of the weakening influences that was mentioned earlier on, this never held a grip on him. He was not materialistic. And most of all, he followed Jehovah's instruction by commanding his sons to keep Jehovah's way of righteousness, even though he lived among a ruthless and depraved society and lived in tents as well. His faith did not diminish in any way, but he focused on God's kingdom. And as a result, he was blessed for his faith. So then, we all can conclude that Abraham took time to reason with his father. Likewise, parents today can do a lot for their family, their children. Parents can focus their children's attention to creation. They can take them to the beach. Then they can help them to appreciate that even the waves that comes in and retreat. One may wonder why. Why Barbados is one of the many countries throughout the world and is supposed to be below sea level. And never has any of us seen or heard of an occasion where Barbados is hurt for being flooded right over. Now, you can take the children even to see the sunset, how the sun reflects on the water on the evening, at the end of the day, how beautiful it is. Or, I'm one that like to look at the clouds every day. And you can take the children as well outside that they can have a look at the clouds and see how beautiful and intricate it can be from day to day. And never one day will you notice that the clouds is just like another one before. No, all of these things can build faith in their Creator. Things like these, solid evidence, help to provide a secure future for them, along with their own personal study program. This building of faith is not reserved for the parents alone, but according to Ephesians chapter 3, verse 11 to 13, elders are there to assist, to help get these ones to the structure that belongs to the fullness of the Christ. So their hands-on approach, taking personal interest in everyone, is paramount. Like Noah, they have a role to play in the preservation of others' lives. Examples worth imitating. So as we look forward to the future, let us build that sort of faith that can remove multiple obstacles that seems impossible, regardless of where they are. Meanwhile, being compassionate and reaching out to others. In taking such steps, we will be heeding Jehovah's instructions. We'll be alert, we'll be conscious of God's will, we'll be active in the field service, and like Noah, displaying immense faith in our Maker. So even though Noah never knew when the ark would be closed, he kept building faith up to that very moment. So brothers, any time and effort we invest to build up our faith now, it's certainly worth it. According to John chapter 3 and verse 16, a lot was given on our behalf, and more is there for the taking, providing we avail ourselves of it. Everlasting life free of all challenges. So instead of loosening our grip, coming up short at this crucial time, it would be wise to fix those essential blocks in their proper places. Doing so actively, reaching out to others, which, brothers and friends, is the most honorable course of action to build our faith in man's Maker.
Thank you very much, Brother Chapman, for that delivery of that information. Certainly we're reminded how we are to build faith in man's Maker. We make sure that we do not lose our grip, which is so vital. As we get close and close to the end, we are reminded that we need to maintain that grip. We look forward to another public lecture, not right now, next week. And that will be, the theme of that on that occasion will be confident of divine victory. Be confident of divine victory. So we are all invited back next week, provided that the circumstances around us with regards to the health issues do not change, that we can be back here to benefit from that discussion. Be confident of divine victory. Now we're going to turn our attention to our next portion of the meeting, with handled by Brother Carolyn, the Watchtower discussion using the January 2020 issue. So we welcome you to our Bible study this week, and the song that we will be singing to begin is song number 90, Encourage One Another. So let's share and sing the song as we move forward. So we welcome all to our Bible study this week. It's a very timely one. It has to do with the matter of comfort. It's based on Colossians 4 verse 11. Paul speaks of some of his fellow workers in this way. He says, "These are my fellow workers for the kingdom of God." And he makes this very powerful statement. "And they have become a source of great comfort to me." So our theme is, you can be a source of great comfort. I can be a source of great comfort. We all need to be a source of great comfort for each other, especially as we see what's unfolding around us quite rapidly. We'll be looking at 3 Bible characters. Perhaps you may not have focused on them before, but let's go through and see what we can learn from each one. Take a look at the review questions, where each one is highlighted. How can you comfort others by imitating Aristarchus' loyalty? What about Titius' trustworthiness and Mark's willingness to help in practical ways? So we look forward to your expressions of faith, and we know we're encouraged to have brief comments, so as many as possible can share, and that we can build each other up in this way. So we ask for the ED to read for us, please, paragraph number 1.
Around the world, many servants of Jehovah are facing stressful, even painful situations. Have you noticed this in your congregation?
Some Christians are dealing with a serious illness or with the death of a loved one. Others are enduring the intense pain of seeing a family member or close friend leave the truth. Still others are coping with the effects of natural disasters. All such brothers and sisters need comfort. How can we help them?
What stressful situations are many faithful servants of Jehovah facing? Sister Daly Eby? Just 1 minute here, just checking the writing.
Some Christians have to deal with the terminal, serious illness, or with the death of a loved one.
Good, thanks. So that's one issue. You can identify with that, Sister Chapman. Straight number the hall, Sister Chapman.
Yes, and others have to deal with the intense pain of seeing members of their family or close friends leave the truth, and still others the natural disasters that we're experiencing, and like now everything on the individual's mind, COVID-19, and the economic fallout.
Very good. Thank you very much, Brother Warren.
So based on all these stresses that we face, we all need comfort and we all need to strive to comfort one another.
Very good. Thank you. Paragraph number 2, please.
The Apostle Paul faced one life-threatening situation after another. He also had to endure a thorn in the flesh, possibly some sort of health problem. And he had to cope with the disappointment when Demas, his one-time fellow worker, abandoned him because Demas loved the present system of things. Paul was a courageous, spirit-anointed Christian who unselfishly helped others, but at times even he felt discouraged.
So, why did the Apostle Paul at times need to be comforted? We start with Luke, and then we'll come to you, Sister Lena Hall.
Because on 2 Chronicles 11 verse 23 to 28, he was hit, he was called, he got sick. He was shipwrecked multiple times, and he was beaten by the Jews 40 times less one. And then he also got hurt. He also felt pain because his friend Demas, over time, fellow worker, abandoned him because he loved the private system of things.
Thank you, Sister Hall. Lena.
So you see that even though he was a faithful supporter of Christ, faithful disciple, he at times would have had these different situations, and he said in Romans 9:1 and 2 that he had great grief and unceasing pain in his heart. So based on that, he too would have needed comforting encouragement.
Yes. Sometimes we might not imagine someone like the Apostle Paul in this way, but this is the reality. This is his reality. We want to learn from him. Paragraph number 3, please.
Paul received the comfort and support he needed. How? Jehovah certainly used his Holy Spirit to strengthen him. Jehovah also comforted him through fellow Christians. Paul describes some of his fellow workers as a source of great comfort. Among the ones he mentioned by name were Aristarchus, Tychicus, and Mark. They strengthened Paul, helping him to endure. What qualities allowed these 3 Christians to be so comforting? How can we follow their fine example as we try to comfort and encourage one another?
So, from whom did Paul receive comfort and support? Let's start first of all with Sister Harding.
Paul received the comfort and support he needed from Jehovah and his Holy Spirit through fellow Christians such as Aristarchus,
Tychicus and Mark, they all strengthened him and helped him to endure through difficult times.
Very good, thank you. Sister, please, give us your name.
Sister Fields. And to support that, we have the scripture, 2 Corinthians 4:7, which Paul says, we have this treasure in earthen vessels, so that the power beyond what is normal may be God's and not from us. So Holy Spirit was received by Paul from Jehovah to carry out his work.
Thank you very much, Sister Fields. So then, as we look at these three individuals, there are some questions we need to consider as we analyze them. What are those questions? Please share them with us. So, right, so give us one. And Sister Hall, Army Truth. Second.
What qualities allow these three Christians to be so competent?
Okay, so let's look at qualities, particular quality. And Sister Hall.
How can we follow their example as we try to comfort others?
Very good. So we just don't want to know, we want to see what we can do. Let's look at the first one, loyal like Aristarchus. We look at paragraph number 4. Aristarchus, a Macedonian Christian from Thessalonica, proved to be a loyal friend to Paul. We first read about Aristarchus when Paul visited Ephesus on his third missionary tour. While accompanying Paul, Aristarchus was captured by a mob. When he was finally set free, he did not seek his own safety, but loyally stayed with Paul. Some months later, in Greece, Aristarchus was still at Paul's side, even though opposers continued to threaten Paul's life. In about 58 CE, when Paul was sent to Rome as a prisoner, Aristarchus accompanied him on the long journey, and together they endured shipwreck along the way. Once in Rome, he apparently spent some time in prison with Paul. Little wonder that Paul felt encouraged and comforted by such a loyal companion. So we're just looking at the example of Aristarchus. We look at application a little later. How did Aristarchus prove to be a loyal friend of Paul? How did he do that? I'm Jair, and then we come over to you, Brother Ashton.
Aristarchus was captured by a mob. When he was finally set free, he did not seek his own safety but loyal stayed with Paul.
Very good. And it's a timely reminder. Let's try not to hold the mic when it comes to us. So I'll encourage you. Go ahead.
Yeah, we see he stuck with Paul through thick and thin. He endured mob violence, as was mentioned there, imprisonment, and even shipwreck. So regardless of these things, he stuck with Paul. So he really was faithful to him through thick and thin.
Okay. So let's think about shipwreck. What is at stake when, like as we see in the picture on the left, we just give it the left panel, what's at stake when someone is in the ocean that tell Alex?
Because and you can see in the picture, where in the ocean, all the creatures like sharks, you are free to anything, and also you have because like how if Paul right there, he's struggling to stay on, you can also drown in the ocean.
All right. Yes. So what's at stake is life. So life for them matter. And in addition to that, look at the expression on the faces. What does that tell you? No land. Mr. Cotrington.
Well, the faces of in between them, forgive me, Aristarchus is trying to tell him to hold on, keep hope alive, and he's holding by his clothes to keep him above water, keep his above water.
Yes. Frank and you, Brother Mills.
Yeah, I was very impressed with the with Aristarchus because most persons might reason, well, Paul, the longer I stay with you, the more my life gets in danger. And Aristarchus was kind of like that because being dragged up by a mob all of the experiences that he had with Paul, all of them were life and death matters, and all of them, you might say, was with a hair's breadth of death. But Aristarchus stuck by Paul even when he was being sent to prison. Aristarchus made that journey. So, despite whatever, Aristarchus knew that Paul was serving Jehovah, and he stuck with Paul through it thick and thin.
Thanks. Was Paul a young man or old man? But he wasn't a young man. I know, but he is mentioned again. But the point is, he did not forsake him as an older man, spiritually and otherwise. He kept him there and he took care of him. Now let's go to paragraph 5 and see what else we can learn.
Like Aristarchus, we can be loyal, we can be a loyal friend by sticking to our brothers and sisters, not only in good times, but also during times of distress. Even after a trial ends, our brother or sister may still need to be comforted. Francis, who lost both her parents to cancer within a 3-month period, says, I think that difficult trials affect us for a long time. And I appreciate loyal friends who remember that I'm still in pain, even though some time has passed since my parent died.
So let's start at Proverbs 17 and verse 17. And we have the song read it first, please.
A true friend shows love at all times, and is a brother who is born for times of distress.
Very good, thank you. So according to Proverbs 17 and verse 17, how can we be a loyal friend? Alright, let's start first of all with the daisy, and we come to Sister Catwell.
By showing love at all times.
Very good, thank you, Sister Catwell. Sorry, I missed it. Your features remind me of someone else. Please, let's say your comment.
At Proverbs 17:17, yes, we are encouraged to show love at all times, but not only at the good times, but in times of distress, and that's when we need it more than ever.
Good, thank you. Sister in the back, please.
And also we can see from this sister who lost both parents, they may have been fellow worshippers. And I was thinking from the convention of 2014, the international, where we had the brother of the lemon tree. If you remember, he lost his wife, and the brother didn't remember the first anniversary of his death, but from then he did. And it could be ones that lost ones, it could be their first assembly, it could be their memorial, things like that, where they're particularly very sad or find that bereavement very difficult. So things like that we can show empathy and sympathy, or even a card or kind words and support can be a great benefit, being a brother in times of distress.
Thank you very much, very kind, yes. So we need to be aware of these things, but this situation here, what's the normal tendency if someone has suffered an event or connected with an event and thing has gone? What do some people normally say? 3 years gone by, 4 years gone by, 5 years gone by. Shit.
Somewhere you got one kind to say, get over it, time is fast.
Yes, or ask me, get over that yet? So we need to be very mindful of these things. Let's look at paragraph 6 as we look specifically at the quality that Aristarchus demonstrated.
Loyal friends make sacrifices in order to support their brothers and sisters. For example, a brother named Peter was diagnosed with a very aggressive terminal illness. His wife Catherine says, a couple in our congregation took us to the appointment where we found out about Peter's illness. They decided there and then that they would not let us go on this painful journey alone, and they have been by our side whenever we have needed them. How comforting it is to have true friends who can help us to endure our trials.
What will loyalty move us to do? Sister Ashley?
It will move us to provide whatever is needed for the circumstance that our brothers are in. May not always be the same, as in the case of the example here. This brother had a terminal illness, but the couple in the congregation decided that they would provide transportation to and from the appointments. So that's what they could do. And then they further followed up. They didn't leave them on their own. They tried to be there for them as moral support also.
Yes. Morris, thanks very much, Sister Ashby.
This, as we look at the study note, it helps us appreciate that when comments were made, that shared troubles can be much easier to bear. And so as we, our brothers and sisters, we share with them the troubles that they're going through, it makes it easier for them to go through it, and it makes them feel more satisfied that they have someone there to help them.
All right, good. So let's ask the question, how would someone know if you need help? How would someone know if you need help? Sister Brand?
Well, it could be two ways. You could tell them, or they could be observant.
Yes. But then where we need to tell them. I need to let them know. In this case, they were, this couple, they were all into addiction. So let's not take things for granted. Let's look at another quality, the one of trustworthiness. Trustworthy like Tychicus. Let's look at paragraph 7 and 8. Tychicus, a Christian from the Roman district of Asia, stands out as a loyal companion to Paul. About 55 CE, Paul organized a collection of relief funds for Judean Christians, and he may have let Tychicus help with this important assignment. Later, when Paul was imprisoned in Rome for the first time, Tychicus served as his personal messenger. He delivered Paul's letters and messages of encouragement to the congregations in Asia. Tychicus remained Paul's trustworthy friend. Not all Christians back then were as dependable as Tychicus. About 65 CE, during the second imprisonment, Paul wrote that many Christian men in the province of Asia avoided associating with him, possibly because they were afraid of opposers. In contrast, Paul could rely on Tychicus and give him yet another assignment. Paul surely appreciated having a good friend like Tychicus. So let's have someone read first, please, Colossians 4, 7 to 9. Sister Warren.
Tychicus, my beloved brother and faithful minister and fellow slave in the Lord, will tell you all the news about me. I am sending him to you so that you will know how we are, and that he may comfort your hearts. He's coming along with Onesimus, my faithful and beloved brother, who is from among you. They will tell you all the things happening there.
Thank you. So according to this scripture, how did Tychicus prove trustworthy? How? Start Brother Ashby.
Well, here we see Titus is now playing a different role. He becomes Paul's personal spokesman and courier, delivering messages and so on to strengthen the brothers.
Okay, thank you. Brother Elisa. What is interesting is that around that time, a lot of the other brothers who were with Paul avoided associating with him because they realized that Paul would have been a target and they didn't want to get part of the opposition that he was facing. But yet Tychicus remained with Paul. Thank you. As we look at 2 Corinthians 18 to 20, what can we draw from that? What can we draw from those verses? Nothing? Sister Duncan?
See that Tychicus had a good reputation among the congregations, and Paul used him to distribute much needed funds for the Judean Christians at that time. So he was given that very important assignment because he was reliable, he was honest, and he had a fine reputation among the brothers.
Very good, thank you. Now, we don't see his name, where do we? How do we know? You're not wrong, because the scholars will say the reference there to the brother in verse 18, that is likely to Tychicus. So he was a hard working individual. Now let's look to see how we can follow his example. Paragraph number 9, please.
We can imitate Tychicus by being a trustworthy friend. For example, we not only promise to help our brothers and sisters in need, but also do practical things to assist them. When those who need help know that they can depend on us, they are genuinely comforted. My sister explains why. She says, you do not have the added stress of wondering whether the person who offered to help will be there on time to do what you want.
How can we imitate Tychicus' help? First sister, please. Give me your name, please.
Sister Dupo. So we can follow the example, the admonition given at Matthew 5 and verse 37, which tells us that we need to let our yes mean yes and our no mean no. So therefore, that will help us to become trustworthy friends. And therefore, if we promise to help our brothers and sisters in whatever way they need, we need to find ways of doing things practically to assist them and keeping our word.
Right, thank you. Brother Chip.
The sister mentioned that you do not have the added stress of whether warning whether the person who offered to help will be there on time to do what he promised. This brings into question punctuality and being dependable and reliable. Imagine an elderly brother or sister has an appointment with the doctor and the person promises to run up at 9 o'clock and he or she comes at noon or 10 o'clock. That's going to increase the anxiety in that person. So that's something we need to give attention to. Being punctual, being dependable, being let a yes mean yes, being faithful in what release and what is not said.
That's right. You know Jehovah is the God of order, and we want to be the same way. Paragraph number 10, please.
Those coping with a trial or disappointment often find comfort by confiding in a trusted friend. After the disappointment of seeing his son disfellowship, YJ said, I needed to share my feelings with someone I could trust. Carlos lost a cherished congregation privilege as a result of a personal failure. He says, I needed a safe place where I could freely express myself without fear of being judged. Carlos found that safe place with the elders who helped him get through his problem. He was also comforted in knowing that the elders were discreet and would keep what he said confidential.
Proverbs 18 and verse 24. Let's have Sister Preston, please.
There are companions ready to crush one another, but there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother.
Thank you. So as stated at Proverbs 18 and verse 24, from whom can those spoken with a trial or disappointment find comfort? I see a small hand, I'm looking for eye. Let's take Sister Ashley, is your hand?
Okay, so we find that looking within the congregation, we find that we can find the support we need from the older men. Elders in the congregation will be there to support us. And this brother found comfort because he could express his feelings, knowing that the brothers would not judge him because of how he spoke, but they would understand and provide the comfort he needed.
Thanks. Let's look at the nature of the two situations. The nature of these two situations. It's a very touchy and emotionally charged issues. Sister Lassie.
one brother whose son was dysfunctional. He said, I needed to share my feelings with someone I could trust. And being this fellowship is a very serious matter. And so there are things that the brother would have told the elder that he don't want him to repeat. Keep it confidential because it could be something that the elder might be surprised to hear him say.
Be very vulnerable. What about the other situation? Now, brothers and sisters, this is something that I said, step over and backwards.
And we see that there's a brother here, Carlos. He lost a cherished congregation privilege as a result of some kind of personal failure. So that would have been weighing on his mind. He may have even considered whether he was even had any worth in Jehovah's eyes. And so by going to the brothers and expressing his feelings, they can help him to overcome not only the issue, but also those negative emotions that he may have had.
Yes. So, Brother Shea?
The matter of confidentiality is very important because the brothers need to trust elders. If an elder is not trusted, he cannot keep confidential matters that would really call into question his qualification as an elder. So it's important for elders to keep their word, to be trustworthy, and to be confidential in dealing with brothers' problems.
It helps the healing process. It doesn't, if we do otherwise, it would harm it. So we've looked at loyalty, we've looked at trustworthiness. Let's look at the third. If we look at willing to serve like Mark, bar up into 12, please. Did you read 11? No, we didn't. Let's have 11 first.
To be a trusted friend and confidant, we need to cultivate patience. When Zana's husband left her, she found comfort in sharing her feelings with close friends. They patiently listened to me, she says, although I probably said the same things over and over again. You too can prove to be a good friend by being a good listener.
How can we be a trusted friend and confidant? How? It's the chapter, please.
Times like these, we need to be patient and become a good listener because sometimes the person might say the same thing over. The person just wanted to think, just for someone to listen. So there are times like these that we keep our mouth shut and keep the ears open.
Yes. Is it possible to listen with our mouths? Yes, it's obvious, right? But sometimes that's what we do. Somebody's talking and we're talking to. We're telling our situation and not theirs. So patience. So let's look at Mark now. Willing to serve like Mark. Look at paragraph number 12, please.
Mark was a Jewish Christian from Jerusalem. His cousin Barnabas was a well-known missionary. Mark's family appears to have been materially well off, yet Mark did not put material things first in his life. Throughout his life, Mark showed a willing spirit. He was happy to serve others. For example, at various times, he served alongside the Apostle Paul and the Apostle Peter as they fulfilled their responsibilities, with Mark possibly attending to their physical needs. Paul described Mark as one of his fellow workers for the kingdom of God and as a strengthening aid to him.
So as we look at the picture, we can comment on the left, what's on the left panel. Who was Mark and how did he show a willing spirit? Who was Mark? Let's take Sister Katin.
We see here that Mark was a Jewish Christian from Jerusalem, and his cousin was Barnabas. But what is interesting that he was well off, yet still he showed a willing spirit. We need to serve first. He didn't say, well, I'm better off than you. You all should be serving me. No, he put himself there to serve his ones in a physical way.
Okay, thank you. Can we have some scriptural support for what Sister Katin just said? Let's get your comment on the picture first. I see it going up at the screen, so let's deal with that first. What's happening on the screen? Let's take a look. That's the one who left.
Left or right?
Left.
So, so we can see that Peter was or Paul was in prison, and then we can see Mark bring some bread, lots of bread, and in the back we see guard if Peter or Paul was house arrest or something like that. Okay, we can see that Mark was a willing guy, although he had almost everything.
Okay, all right. What else? What other scripture reference we can make here? Mills?
Mark was a really nice, genuine brother. He had to be a spiritual man to be involved in this kind of responsibilities I did. So even going on that trip, he might have said, well, I'm well off financially. I have spiritual status. I have a cousin who is Barnabas, who was a missionary. So he could have felt like I have pedigree, as some might complain, but he was willing to go ahead just to be an attendant, to help out and serve Paul, attending to their needs. So just as in the picture there, he's not providing a spiritual blessing, but he's providing a physical blessing, and he was willing to do that. And even after,
All right, good. So let's turn then to Acts 13, and we'd like someone to read verse 5. Acts 13, verse 5. Okay, Sister Mosley.
When they arrived from Sardis, they began to tell the word of God in the synagogues of the Jews. They also had chaplains at the time.
Right, so who's John? Who is John? Brother Graham?
This is the very one called Mark, John Mark.
Yes, that's his name. And he served as an attendant. So if you serve the congregation as attendant, you may want to look at Mark's example. Let's go to paragraph 13, please. Mark became one of Paul's close friends. For example, when Paul was imprisoned for the last time he wrote about 6 CE, he wrote his second letter to Timothy. In that letter, Paul asked Timothy to come to him and to bring Mark along. Paul no doubt appreciated Mark's past faithful service, so he asked for Mark's presence at that crucial time. Mark helped Paul in practical ways, perhaps supplying him with food or items for his writing. The support and encouragement that Paul received likely helped him to enjoy the final days leading up to his execution. How does 2 Timothy 4 verse 11 show that Paul appreciated Mark's faithful service? Let's have someone read it for us, please. 2 Timothy 4 verse 11. Sister Harlan.
Only Luke is with me. Bring Mark along with you, for he is helpful to me in the ministry.
Okay. So remember the question. How does that show that Paul appreciated Mark? Mr. Bartlett?
During Paul's last imprisonment, about 65 CE in Rome, he had asked to have Mark brought along to him. And as he said, the latter part, he said, for he is helpful to be in the ministry. And that helpfulness could have been in practical ways, perhaps supplying Paul with food or items, but Paul really appreciated that support and that encouragement, and that helped him to endure. So he actually relied on Mark to help him during that time.
Yes. And what makes this situation so remarkable? Remember the situation between Paul and Barnabas? Brother Ashley?
Well, this situation is so remarkable because earlier, on one occasion, when John Mark was on a mission with them, he actually abandoned them. And then when Barnabas wanted to take him along, Paul and Barnabas got in a big argument because Paul didn't want him to go. But now we see he had proven his faith. And now this is the very guy who he didn't want to take that he's now requesting to bring to me. So you see how his attitude had changed.
Yes. Very good, thank you. Paragraph 14, please. And let's follow us, brother. Edie reads Matthew 7, verse 12.
All things, therefore, that you want men to do to you, you also must do to them. This, in fact, is what the law and the prophets mean. When we are going through a hard time, how we appreciate those who offer support in practical ways. There are so many routine things that seem to be impossible to do when you are suffering, says Ray, whose father died unexpectedly in a tragic accident. Practical assistance, even when it seems very little, goes a long way. By being attentive and observant, we can likely find practical ways to help others. For example, one sister took the initiative to help Peter and Catherine, mentioned earlier, get to all the medical appointments. Neither Peter nor Catherine could drive anymore, so the sister made a schedule that enabled volunteers from the congregation to take turns providing transportation. Did this arrangement help? Catherine says, we felt as if a burden had been lifted off our shoulders. Never underestimate how comforting your practical yet simple acts of kindness can be.
So as we comment on these two paragraphs, we can also comment on the panel to the right of our photo, or I should say the image. What can Matthew 7 and verse 12 teach us about assisting others in practical ways? Mr. Edie.
When we're going through hard times, we don't want to do it alone, don't like to do it alone. And in the case of the Apostle Paul, we saw how strengthening Mark was to him, like us too as well, for us. We appreciate when we see a friendly face, our brothers coming to help us. And we saw that in an instance where brothers were in prison, and the brothers in the congregation got together as soon as they heard about it. They took information and letters and such like that to encourage them. So we know how important that is for us spiritually, and we can do it for others.
Good, thank you. Sister Knight.
In the man in the picture above, to the east or west, where we see that the couple might have, they're very happy to see that the couple to the right have brought them water that we need and also food supplies in the basket. So it is not big things that persons do, but it's the little acts of assistance. Probably they are not able to make it out, and there will be a lot of people who are not able to make it out. We find ways to assist, and so they're doing things that are kind acts, and this helps brothers to cope with their trials. And sometimes people say, "I'll leave them to sort out their own problem," but what we want for ourselves, we want to feel comforted, and so we do things that would make a person know that they're thought of, even if they're going through a trial.
All right, thank you. What's the principle that we want to draw in Matthew 7? What's the principle? Sister Small.
It says there, all things, therefore, that you want men to do to you, you must also do to them. So we can appreciate when people do good things and practical things that can be helpful to us. So we want to do the same thing to others. We want to show practical ways in which we can help people. Like some time ago, I remember the young brother came up to me, Sister Small, is there anything I can do to help you? Young brother came up to me and came on and asked me that. And I felt so good to think that this young brother is showing that interest. So we want to keep our young ones growing in that way. This morning I was coming in there, Alex ran to me. How are you, Sister Small? How are you doing? All these are ways, practical ways in which people can be helped, especially when you're getting young like me. So very much appreciate any kind of practical help you can get.
Thank you very much, Sister Small. I'm sure Alex appreciates your appreciation.
referring to the image. Referring to the image on the right once more. You see there the couple has gone through a devastating tragedy. You see in the background they've lost their house. And we might not be in a position to rebuild them a house, but just the couple knowing that we have them in mind is sufficient for them to feel encouraged, to feel strengthened to carry on. I remember when we had our challenge with our son, he was in hospital, just the presence of the brothers, there's nothing the brothers could do really. I mean, there are simple things, but just having persons with you, it really cannot be overstated how it encourages you, and it really shows you that the brothers are with you with it in your trial. So small things, very, very small things, like the water, in the grand scheme of things, what is it really? But knowing that they have you in mind, and they're looking for practical ways to assist you, it means the world, really.
All right, guys, somebody disagree on the water. Mr. Lampkin.
So just to underscore that we should be attentive and be observant. It's very easy to become self-absorbed in our own challenges, our own problems, especially with what's happening around us now. It's affecting all of us. But we should look at our brothers and sisters to see how we can help them.
Thanks, Bashir.
Sometimes the feeling is that the initiative should be taken by brothers or the elders in the congregation. I was impressed about what they said with sister that this sister made a schedule that enabled volunteers from the congregation to assist. That's very commendable for a sister to take that initiative, to make a schedule to make sure that others get assistance and don't leave it to the brothers alone to do it.
Okay, thank you very much. So let's come to the concluding section of our discussion. Here we want to be able to shape our determination. Determine to conquer others. Paragraph 17, please. 16. Yes, I think I have 16. 16 only.
The first century disciple Mark certainly was a busy Christian. He had many theocratic assignments, including working the gospel at various need. Yet Mark made time to comfort Paul, and Paul felt free to ask for Mark's assistance. Angela, who had to cope with the violent death of a family member, appreciated the similar willingness of those who comforted her. When friends genuinely want to help, they are approachable, she says. They don't seem reluctant or hesitant. We can ask ourselves, am I known for being willing to comfort fellow worshippers in practical ways?
What important lesson about providing comfort do we learn from Mark's example? Let's take a shining light.
Yes, Mark, we will have very weighty theocratic assignments, but yet we still make time to help comfort Paul. So now in our day, when we see others down, or even if they're alone or anything like that, we could still make time to come and comfort them and associate with them.
Good, thank you. You think of Mark, you think of Paul. Paul is the missionary. Mark is the attendant. What are the dynamics there? And we tend to look at it the other way around, right? Paul should be comforting Mark. But Mark is comforting Paul. What else do we learn from the observations here, brothers? Like from Angela, for example. Brother Edie?
Angela made a very interesting point. She made reference to the fact that when persons, well, Brother made a point, but when friends generally want to help, they are approachable. They don't seem hesitant and reluctant, so you know that you can ask each one for assistance. They've made their comfort available. And that is something that we would want to do. We would want to ask ourselves, am I approachable? Can brothers ask me for some measure of comfort? Can they look to me for some measure of comfort? Or will they look at me and say, well, I can't even talk to him about this problem. Look for someone else. That's something that we would ask ourselves.
Now you can reproduce that.
Determined to comfort others. We do not hold back. We do not have to look far to find brothers and sisters who need comfort. We may even be able to share the same encouraging thoughts that others have used to comfort us. Nina, a sister who lost her grandmother in death, says, Jehovah can comfort others through us if we allow ourselves to be used by him. St. Francis quoted earlier, there is real truth to 2 Corinthians chapter 1 and verse 4. We can pass on to others the comfort we receive. So 2 Corinthians 1 verses 3 and 4. Sister Annie, read this for us, please. Monica.
Praise be the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, the Father of tender mercies, and the God of all comfort, who comforts us in all our trials, so that we may be able to comfort others in any sort of trials with the comfort that we receive from God.
Thank you very much. So how can meditating on 2 Corinthians 1 verses 3 and 4 motivate us to offer comfort? Let's start researching it.
This scripture here in 2 Corinthians 1, 3 and 4 remind me of a video that showed a compassion with this young brother whose father left his mother and him alone, and he was going through, he was down, and brothers from congregation helped him, and he had help from Jehovah also. And he didn't only focus on himself. He looked in congregation, he saw this older brother that was suffering from being alone, and he helped that. He saw that he didn't only take comfort, he received comfort, and he also showed comfort, he gave comfort to others. And this is what this scripture here is encouraging us to do. When we get comfort, we help others.
Perfect, thank you. Take our brother, please.
When we meditate and think of the source from which we receive the comfort, Jehovah God, we can do that next, but share, give, don't be stingy. Because the source that we receive the comfort from don't ever run out.
Okay, thanks. How does Jehovah give us comfort? Oh. Small.
Jehovah provides comfort for us by means of his organization, the congregation, the elders in the congregation, and the many volumes that we have to read, pieces of literature. We have the we have all kinds of things that Jehovah provides for us. So we just need to make good use of them.
Yes, of course, we have the Bible. Very good, thanks. Let's go on to paragraph number 18, please. We need to take the initiative to act despite our fears. For instance, we may fear not knowing what to say or what to do for someone who is in a distressing situation. An elder named Paul remembers the effort some made after his father died. I could tell that it was not easy for them to approach me, he says. They struggled with their words, but I still appreciated the desire to offer comfort and support. Similarly, after experiencing a powerful earthquake, a brother named Tajon said, I honestly don't remember every message that people sent me in the days following the earthquake, but I do remember that they cared enough to check on me. We can be effective comforters if we show that we care.
Why may some be afraid to offer comfort? Brother Chapman?
So the reason why some may be afraid to offer comfort, because first of all, they may be wondering what to say. How can I say whatever it is to comfort this person? But the idea always is that it's not what one has to say. The effort that was made and the desire to do so is what counts most. So as we've seen here with the Abbott brother, in fact, before they said, I could tell that it was not easy for them to approach me. And that is obvious. So, yeah, that they make the effort, that's the main thing. So we are encouraged to do make the effort.
Thank you. So how can we genuinely comfort others, and we can give an example? Cutting.
As
previously said, the person may not have the right words and he may struggle with the right ones. But the main thing is to show that you care, even if you don't have anything much to say.
Yes, so true. So true. Paragraph 19, please. As we get close to the end of this system of things, world conditions will deteriorate and life will become more challenging. And the problems that we bring on ourselves become inherited sin and imperfection, mean that we will continue to need comfort. The Apostle Paul was able to endure faithfully to the end of his life, thanks in part to the comfort he received from fellow Christians. May we be loyal like Aristarchus, trustworthy like Tychicus, and willing to serve like Mark. By doing so, we can help our brothers and sisters remain firm in the faith. Thank you very much, Brad, for reading for us. What are you determined to be a source of great comfort? Why? Sister Matthew.
Already we can see that Jehovah has confidence that we can be, as the namely paragraph you say, you can be a source of comfort. And it also helps, us brothers and sisters to build up our faith, as was mentioned in the public talk. As 1 Thessalonians 3:2-3 says, it says that no one, Jehovah doesn't want anyone to be shaken by these tribulations. So it is a determination of mine to be a source of comfort.
Right, thank you. Sister Hardin.
90% of our problems we bring on ourselves because of our imperfection. And this means that as long as we live, we will continue to need comfort.
Good. So let's just review our discussion then. How can you comfort others by imitating Aristarchus' loyalty? How? If you see that you can benefit from it. Mr. Carchington?
You can comfort others by remaining loyal to them through thick and thin, or better for worse, whichever the case may be, because as things get hard, we need each other to depend on one another.
Thanks, Brother Earl.
Paracelsus was certainly a loyal person to the Apostle Paul. In times of distress, in times when Paul would figure that he would have abandoned him, he was there for Paul. And so we want to be with others in time of distress as well, and provide them with the loyalty that is necessary so that they can remain firm in serving Jehovah.
Thank you. What about Tychicus' trustworthiness? What about him? Brother Mills?
When no one else really wanted to be around Paul, when they were afraid to associate themselves with him, Tychicus was there with Paul, and he made himself available, even in terms of relating Paul's messages and letters. He was there, and he was dependable in that way. So we can do the same.
All right, good. What about Mark's willingness to help in practical ways? Sean Mark. Brother Warren.
Mark was willing. He provided the Apostle Paul with an instrument to write when he was in prison. He was a source of comfort also to the Apostle Paul. So he was always willing to assist wherever he can.
All right, good. Thank you. Sister Renee.
And so we have to keep looking at ourselves and see if we display qualities of being willing to comfort others and the persons feel comfortable with us. Are we approachable? Are we encouraging? We uplift? So we can work out.
Okay, thank you. So we appreciate very much your comments, brothers. Certainly gives us a lot of food for thought, and we want to be able, especially in the times in which we live, to see how we can improve in these areas. Before we close our meeting, there are a few announcements we'd like to make. The final paragraph in our study said this: as we get closer to the end of this system of things, world conditions will deteriorate, and life will become more challenging. It's against that background that we're making these announcements. Some of you would have heard, for example, that we will be having no memorial invitation campaign. That's because after our discussion on Wednesday night, we received further direction from the branch and the governing body about how we conduct certain things. So there will be no memorial invitation campaign in the public. Rather, we will focus on inactive ones and our Bible students. Secondly, we will be making some further announcements about the memorial arrangement on Wednesday night, so we ask that you anticipate that. Thirdly, on the matter of cleaning, which is an integral part of what we are dealing with now, the coronavirus, COVID-19, we want to remind you that there's a schedule on the board for cleaning. In the past, as we said on Wednesday night, we had general cleaning and security. General cleaning continues every 3 months, but the weekly cleaning, look there to see when your group is cleaning. We ask that you cooperate with your group overseer. He will assign specific tasks who to do what, so please follow his direction. And then we're asking children, please, to follow the direction of your parents. Parents, please supervise the activity of your children as it relates to the cleaning. Now, you would have seen and you would have heard that already some items are becoming difficult to acquire to use for cleaning, wipes, sanitizers, etc. So we ask that as you use the items here, please do so carefully so as to avoid wastage. And so, especially children, we know that you want to help, but follow the direction of your parents and the group of us here as we use our supplies judiciously. We'd also like to let you know that there will be no circuit assembly on April 18th. That has been cancelled. Further arrangements will be notified as to how we may still benefit from the program, but we'll let you know as time goes on. As we prepare for the situation to further deteriorate, as it has all around the world, Brother Mills has prepared some schedules, and we just want you to check with your group overseer. He will give one to each overseer. We will have your telephone numbers, but we need an up-to-date email address from you in the event that we come to the stage where we have to meet electronically rather than in person. So please check with your group overseer after the meeting and to make sure that he has your up-to-date email address. And finally, we want to meet with the elders briefly. Afterward, we are continuing getting updates on the brothers, so we need to be able to assimilate these and take whatever steps we need to take. And finally, brothers, we'd like you to turn to Proverbs 14, verses 15 and 16. Proverbs 14, 15 and 16. Now we know the shrewd one sees the calamity and he prepares himself. But we'd also like to bear these thoughts in mind at Proverbs 14, 15 and 16. There it says, the naive person believes every word, but the shrewd one ponders each step. The wise one is cautious and turns away from evil, but the stupid one is reckless and overconfident. As the situation deteriorates, we don't want to be overconfident. Neither do we want to believe everything we hear or see on social media. Let's listen for the direction from the brothers. They have been extremely proactive and very busy in making sure they provide timely direction as to what we should and should not do. So please pay close attention to what comes from the brothers, comes through from the elders, as we will make sure that we follow through on Jonah's direction as we cope with this, as the program says, challenging and difficult times. Now we want to bring our meeting to a close, and the song we'll be singing is song 111, or Reasons for Joy. It may not seem so, but we do have a lot of reasons for joy. And then we invite Brother Chapman to approach Jehovah on our behalf.
find it was served in type for me, a lot of critical money for us, and really would have made ourselves available source to benefit. Certainly, we want to thank you for what the faithful state has provided, and thereby, once we follow the instructions, we're certain to benefit. This morning, as we gather here, we've seen the news of the watch and study, how various brothers were great assistants for others, and it's telling us at this point in time, we need to do similarly, and to do so in a genuine way, and certainly cause the brothers who are receiving to be looking forward for others to have when the opportunity arises for them as well. Recognize there are many amongst us, the old ones, the young ones, those in between, and everyone needs assistance, because when you consider our fingers, none can work independently. It needs the other. So we ask as well too that you continue to help us to be mindful as to what was said in the public lecture. We've seen many examples of our good servants who maintained their faith, their integrity to the end. And even though they were not aware as to when the end would come, they worked up to that point in time, and it certainly proved successful for all of them. The reason why those scriptures are there is recording your word of truth for our instructions that we may benefit from it. And we ask as we continue to bear these things in mind, we know we're living in a similar time period, where times are difficult, and where the only thing now, the objective, is to focus our attention on your kingdom by using your Son, Christ Jesus. You know, outside it's raining at present. We have field service activity in mind. We ask you help us to be mindful as to how we go about it. We ask if it's stronger that it be easy and give us the opportunity to reach as many as we possibly can. You allow us to do so. Those ones in countries where it's not favorable, we ask you continue to on those ones as well. Continue to share your presence as we continue to pray in their behalf. So we're about to go to legal service or to respect the phones, those of us. We ask you to take us here safely. And if it's whether we can return once more to benefit, we ask you to practice such one. Ask you to forgive us where necessary. We ask all these things through the Son of Jesus. Amen.
Think outside the box. Be someone who talks. Don't waste away behind that tiny screen, because you know that there's much more to life than friend requests and likes. Think of all the things we haven't seen. Well, yeah, you never see them if you're focused on the superficial. You need real friends if you know what I mean. Look at me. Can you see what I see? Around the world there's happy family. Look at me. Do you know what I know? That you belong. Put down the phone and look at me. Take the time to see what others see. Don't trade that plastic box for all your friends. You can make friends you know are true, who love Jehovah too, and stand right by your side until the end. But you never meet them if you're focused on the superficial. You need real friends if you know what I mean. Look at me. Can you see what I see? Around the world there's happy family. Look What you're getting could be fact, it could be fiction. No, life in the cloud could be so. Life in the cloud can be so cruel. Why don't you come back down to earth, converse, and reverse the addiction? Put down your device, 'cause if you don't think twice, the best in life will surely pass you by. Look, listen, taste and touch the things we love so much have been here all along. All you need to do is realize what's in your hand is only superficial. You got real friends if you know what I mean. Look at me. Can you see what I see? Around the world is happy family. Look at me. Do you know what I know? That you belong. Put down the phone and look at me. Can you see what I see? Around the world is happy family. Look at me. Do you know? You belong. Put down the phone and look at me.
When the wind blows, when the rain comes, when the ground beneath you starts to slip away, God is always near, and He cares for you. You're not alone, your friends are here, will help you find your way. We won't forget you. We are your family. We won't ignore you. We will not fail to see. We'll take your hand, we'll help you stand, we'll help you carry on. We won't forget you. We are your family. When the storm's gone, when the day breaks, when our love surrounds you like a warm embrace, then you come to know that it's really so. Love is a bond, a perfect bond that time will not erase. We won't forget you. We are your family. We won't ignore you. We will not fail to see.
with 1,000 miles behind us. Since we left our home, it's Jehovah's hand that is blessing every move. And the work that we do isn't easy, but it's all for Jehovah. And the love that we feel for this family is real, so this we say to you. We're all Jehovah's people, united. We are family, and though your land is far away, we love you. We're your family. Waiting there as our plane came in, you were reaching out to greet us. Then the music starts and the day begins, and our love grows even more. But we know that it's only Jehovah who can cause this to happen. So we'll praise him together and love him forever on every distant shore. We're all Jehovah's people, united. We are family, and though your land is far away, we love you. We're your family. Silver wings fly across the sea to a land so unfamiliar. But we bring good news, and the ones we meet are so gentle, kind, and good. And the love we receive from our brothers makes us feel we belong here. So wherever we are, and no matter how far, we love our brotherhood. It's good to know that we have family everywhere we go. From Mali to Mexico, from Japan to Jamaica. We're all Jehovah's people, united. We are family, and though your land is far away, we love you. We're your family. From every tribe and nation, united. We are family. These bonds of love are plain to see, because we're Jehovah's family. Fiji, Tahiti, and New Caledonia, Navajo, Blackfoot, and Cherokee, Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, and Estonia. We love you. We're your family.
Look around us now, see the love on each face. Out there in the world, hard to find. All these faithful friends with the love they all show, glad to leave that old world behind. Love never fails, that's promised. It always will endure. Love, unfailing love, that's what Jehovah gives. That's what He is. Love, unfailing love, that's what we need. Sometimes it seems like the cares of this life weigh us down and feel hard to bear. Giving brings us joy when we share faith and hope, comforted by God's loving care. Love will remain as promised. It always will endure. Love, unfailing love, that's what Jehovah gives. That's what He is. Love, unfailing love, that's what we need to live. And the love here today in our heart, may it stay. Love, unfailing love, that's what Jehovah gives. That's what He is. Love, unfailing love, that's what we need to live. And the love here today in our heart, may it stay. Unfailing love, unfailing love, unfailing love.
Now everyone, it seems to me, knows just the place he wants to be. I know what's right, I know what's wrong, and yes, I know where I belong. It feels so good to know where I should be, where I should go, to find good friends and company who build me up and care for me. Yes, here in my heart, the feelings are strong. Jehovah, it's you who'll help me get through and show me where I belong. My heart is sure, it's clear to me, I'm standing where I want to be. I read God's word, I make it live. It moves my heart, what can I give? And now
Look around us now, see the love on each face. Out there in the world, hard to find. All these faithful friends with the love they all show, glad to leave that old world behind. Love never fails, that's promised.